ARE clips on the Green New Deal and child trafficking. Wait, what? Is he talking to some fucking QAnon guy?
Rogan experience.
Human trafficking. That's another thing that we don't talk about.
Yes, that is another thing that just goes in and out of the news. We were talking about on the podcast the 39 or 35 kids that were rescued in Georgia.
Yeah.
And it was a blip in the news. Like how, but meanwhile, I saw 1,000 articles on how mean Ellen is.
Yes.
Ellen's mean.
What is he doing? No, this is one of Dan Cranshaw's Avengers.
She's so mean. Meanwhile, there's like
Yeah.
people are out there risking their life to stop human trafficking. They're rescuing children
Yes.
from human trafficking.
Yes.
What is this? U.S. Marshal. Wow, 72 million missing children.
Missing.
Excuse me. 72. Let's say million. 72 missing children across Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia in the past several weeks. In the past.
Wait, what? Are you fucking insane,
This is a
dude?
deranged pervert.
72 million? Oh, he read it incorrectly. It means 72 missing children.
Past several weeks. So what is this is where these, so when you read an article like that, U.S. Marshals rescued 72 missing children, this is where like all the QAnon people get crazy because they think that Donald Trump is secretly working behind the scenes to stop child trafficking.
No, I didn't hear it. He corrected himself. Okay, listen. Here's the problem, okay? Well, before I tell you what the problem is, you're going to get an ad for 60 seconds because top of the hour ad time for ya. Let's go, laddie. The broadcaster indicated the channels intended for mature audiences. The broadcaster is intended. What?
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm out of control.
Listen.
I apologize for that.
You
Saying
all
won't go vegan
know what the
because
fuck
vegans
the
are
deal
annoying
is.
a lib take. It's exactly like saying you won't support Bernie because of his supporters. Lib chat, lib chat, lib chat.
You all know what the fuck the deal is, dude. You all know what I'm going to say. You already know what I'm going to say. We got 25 seconds. I'm still waiting for the ad. The ad watchers, I feel bad. I'm waiting for the plebs. I'm not going to give the hot take, the scorching hot take, before they come back in.
Oh, you're such a big man, Hasan.
5 seconds remaining. Listen, I don't want to fuck the plebs over. I will wait for the plebs. All right, we're back. Okay, so put one in the chat when you see an ad, by the way. I want to know how many people actually get the ads. Okay. 72 missing children in that area over the past couple of weeks. The majority of those numbers, there's 800,000, I think 400, like, depending on which estimate you look at, there's like 400 to like 800,000 kids that go missing. I think it's like 400,000 is the most conservative estimate yearly in the United States of America.
This is a deranged
400,000 missing children.
pervert.
That sounds fucking insane, right? Well, wrong. The majority of those missing children are either A, lost or run away from home, or B, in the majority of those cases, okay, the majority of those cases, they are actually abducted by another parent in a child custody argument or child custody battle, okay? There it is. Now, when you eliminate that, here's the article he's reading. In the same article, it's saying 91% of the 420K are runaways. Yeah. Wait, what? No, they're not. 91% of the 420K aren't runaways. Half of those are custody battle kids that parents stole. Okay? The number of people, the number of little kids that get abducted by strangers in like these minivan style situations that QAnon likes to hyper focus on is minuscule in comparison to the overall 400,000 number. It's still terrible when it happens, but kidnapping of children by strangers is not a thing that is routine. I think it's like around 80 kids out of the 400,000 are kidnapped by strangers.
and
A
that
year.
there's like some secret cabal in the government that wants to enable this shit, and then Facebook bans QAnon, and everyone's going crazy now.
Yeah.
Like this child trafficking thing
is real.
Is real.
It's
It has always existed.
Did you know that Houston is actually one of the hubs for child trafficking in the U.S.?
Oh yeah, he is one of the Dan
Really?
Crenshaw
Yes, it is.
guys.
Now, how
Yes,
do
it
they? How do they find out about child trafficking? Like, how do they infiltrate?
So usually it's local law enforcement that recognizes some abnormalities in the behavior of some of the children. Usually it's certain areas, certain shops, certain businesses that are kind of harboring these people. A lot of them just get stopped because, I mean, it's kind of really odd if you're in a van or an 18-wheeler and then there's like 20 kids in it. It's weird. And we, as a culture, have got to work with local law enforcement to start to curb this
you're
thing,
such a
because
big
that's where the
man,
rubber meets
Hasan.
the road. I don't know if you saw the story. I don't know if you could pull it up, sir, but if you saw the story about the flight attendant
Yes.
that helped out,
Yes, the girl
that
yes.
recognized the abnormal.
You know that Joe Rogan had this dude on because he's homies with Dan Crenshaw, and Dan Crenshaw wants him to win. It's so...
This is
Yeah, okay, I predict that Joe Rogan's
Hi,
takes
Hasan.
are going to get
I
worse
have
and
a
worse
panic
in the
disorder,
in the
and watching
upcoming
your streams
fucking
every day really helps
years.
take my
One,
mind
because
away from it
he's
and
like
keep me
annoyed that
calm.
Spotify is
Thank you
trying
for
to
always
make
being there,
him...
streaming this content and helping me.
He's
Hassan
probably
YT.
half annoyed that like Spotify is his boss now. If you're an independent guy for a very long time and you get a larger player calling the shots for you, that is really frustrating. I can give you a source from my own personal experience where I really pushed back originally on the running ads on Twitch because it was fucking Amazon making me do it and not on my own volition. So that was the first time I had to, after having like freedom to pretty much do whatever I wanted for the longest time, having like that forced upon me in some ways, even though I had some negotiation power, was still not great. Okay,
Oh, you're such a
I did not like
man,
that.
Hasan.
And I can tell that Joe Rogan won't like that. You know, he can't say whatever the fuck he wants anymore and like run his regular show where he just like goes off the walls with like conspiracy theories and shit. So that's one. And two, I think that Joe Rogan, now living in Texas, is going to be a closer friend to Dan Crenshaw and will likely, I don't know, have more like conservative shit directly lasered in the back of his mind.
Malady
Yes.
of a girl on a flight by herself and saved her life.
Yes, and they had the authorities on the ground when the plane
Waiting.
landed. Yeah,
Waiting.
Yeah.
We have got to see more of that. And so this is how we talked about in the Army. You got to police your own troops. We got to police our own. If we are just acutely aware of the abnormalities and the behavior of young children who clearly are under duress, we cannot turn a blind eye to it.
why is this not a bigger story in mainstream news? This is
Oh.
one of the things that concerns me. I don't understand why you're not seeing this on CNN. This is
Every
not
day.
Yeah.
Why aren't we seeing this every day on CNN?
right. That story right there should be leading on
Everything.
primetime news.
Everything.
That should be leading. 72 missing children rescued.
Yes.
So how are they? They can't. It can't be just that they're randomly discovering what these kids in a truck, or they see a kid on a plane acting weird, and that's how they catch everybody. Like,
Right.
how are they infiltrating? Like, how? Because there's also a bunch of guys that are former spec ops guys that are working to fight child trafficking. How are they doing this?
So the solution to this, in my opinion, and I'll get to your answer in a second. The solution to this, in my opinion, is actually, and I would be in
Oh, you're
huge
such a
favor of this, of
big
literally
man,
starting
Hasan.
a separate
Looking sexy
task
today,
force
King.
to address this in known hotspots.
TV Shopper, this guy is black, veteran, Republican, feel strong man, GOP values. Wait, TV Shopper, aren't you that fucking troll like conservative on Reddit?
The other way we're finding out, as to answer your question, the other way that we're finding out as to how they're infiltrating is really if you go to hubs of the world, like Houston, you go to coastal cities where people are actually bringing people into
His
the country.
name is
That's exactly where
Hasan.
you're going to find a lot of it. So if you just kind of hang out around these areas, then you'll see a lot more of it. You'll discover a lot more of it. And so Houston has become kind of one of those hubs because of its geographic location.
This is a
It's actually
deranged
near a port city.
pervert.
By the way, he's wrong. Oklahoma is the child sex trafficking capital, not Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
And obviously, people are coming through port cities
His
at a
name
hire rate.
is
Cargo's coming
Hasan.
through at a higher rate. And so we're actually able to track that at a better rate if you just kind of hang around the hoop. You'll find it.
But maybe I'm wrong. Hold
So
on.
how are these people communicating?
Yeah, it
This
is.
a
Yeah.
deranged pervert.
Oklahoma's a prime trade route for child traffickers.
Well, human trafficking is a crime most of us probably.
Jesus
you're
Christ,
such
from
a
2010.
big
What the
man,
fuck?
Hasan.
Yo Hassie. Yo chat.
Hidden. Oklahoma's human trafficking crisis. There it is. Oklahoma is now one of the 34 states to be selected for a new federal grant to aid sex trafficking survivors. Funny that they don't mention investigating rich pedos that actually commission this shit. Houston is unfortunately number one in human trafficking, but not child trafficking. Living in LA, you see it every day. Just go to the local Walmart or street corner, you see traffickers everywhere. Wait, what? It's a trade route. Yeah, it is a trade route.
This is. It seems like if the government can use programs like
Yeah.
Edward Snowden revealed,
Yeah.
like how are they organizing these things and where are they getting these kids from?
They get these kids from actually all over the world. A lot of them are coming from impoverished communities. A lot of them are coming from impoverished countries, and they're just shipping them in. A lot of them come from Asian countries, actually. And a lot of them come from right here in the U.S. And this is something that dawned on me, is particularly with having two girls now, and that is it's also my job to continue to protect them and all of these young people, and it's actually young boys as well. It's not just young ladies.
Man, Hasan.
It's actually incumbent upon them to keep them safe. If we can't keep them safe, then what are we doing here? Literally. Like, that's our role now, you know, as fathers and as responsible human beings, is keeping our young people safe.
I'm sorry. I'm out of control. I apologize for that.
Just voted green since
The biggest
I
thing
live
is
in
this:
Illinois. My
there
mom vote
clearly is an
shamed me for not
appetite
voting
and there
for
clearly
Biden.
is a culture
Savage.
for it. What I want to do is, how do we place
Listen, man, child sex trafficking is real. It's fucking horrible, and it definitely happens. It happens most commonly, or like not even child sex trafficking, but like child rape and shit happens within powerful institutions like the Catholic Church. You don't need me to describe that to you. The worst part about this, though, is that it is a highly charged and obviously very understandably emotional act that impacts a lot of people, and that they turn around and they utilize that. The government, for example, utilizes this as a way to hurt consensual adult sex workers.
Oh, you're such a big
Okay,
man,
that's why Sesta
Hasan.
Fosta is like the negative consequences of like bills like Sesta Fosta that limits the websites that sex workers, consensual adult sex workers can use, ends up hurting sex workers more than anyone else. Okay. Thank you for reviewing the clip I sent of the black Hotep transporter. Is there any way you can clip that? What? Maybe you can do it on your own.
extreme punishment on those who behave in this
Yeah.
and partake in this behavior? I tell you what, it could be happening right next door to you, to somebody that seems to be a normal human being. But we have got to stop them. We have to stop the predator from feasting on our children.
Yeah.
And it's got to be demonized. Let's demonize that.
Yeah. 100.
Like, what's this take that, like, you're anti-sex trafficking of children? Like, fucking brave, dude. Yeah, no shit. Like, who the fuck would be pro-sex trafficking for children? Like, let's demonize sex trafficking for children? What? Like, who is Who is pro sex trafficking of children, you fucking asshole?
This is a deranged.
Like, who are you hanging out with that's like, well, you know, I'm morally in the gray area when it comes to sex trafficking of children.
100%. Yeah. How are these people communicating though? Are
Yes.
they doing it through the dark web? Are they doing it through forums? Are they doing it through? Are they using code? Like, how are they doing this?
I've heard all the above.
Yeah.
I've also heard communicating through just open email inboxes, right? They don't hit send, but they have the password for multiple emails, and they'll just go in, get the
Oh, you're
message,
such
and
a
then
big
never open or close it, so
man,
it's
Hasan.
impossible basically to track. It's just like a draft.
Oh, I see. And so other people have the log.
Can you interview Stevie the Kid? No, it's Scotty the Kid. And secondly, nice meme. I did interview him. And also we got him to the fucking freestyle rap as well. Go watch it on YouTube. You can see it on my YouTube. Is the latest video that I have. Well, not the latest one, but one of the latest videos that I have, and it's very good. Okay, and you know, I hope you like it.
log
Have to
into
log
the
in the
account,
password, and
and they check it out through the draft. That makes
Whores
sense.
in this house. There's some
And it's
whores in
funny
this
because
house.
this
There's some whores in this
subject, because
I
of
don't know what to say other than
things like
thanks.
Pizzagate, the subject
Yeah.
became so taboo that no one wants to talk about it because it sounds preposterous. Because Pizzagate was so preposterous. Guy shows up and with a gun looking for kids that are tied up in the basement. And everybody's like, "Oh my god!"
There's nobody here.
Everyone's wacky. These child sex trafficking fanatics that are interested in this and that are trying to stop this. They're all crazy people.
Right.
But that's not really the case.
Right.
The problem with something like Pizzagate is that it confuses everybody.
Yeah.
And you start thinking that all this stuff is nonsense. But then these stories, they make it to these websites, and you see that this is a real thing. These are real news stories, but then they don't get talked about in mainstream.
That's right. And then we lose track of who the real enemy is.
Yeah, that's a real enemy, not Ellen.
And that's dangerous. You're right. Not
Ellen
Ellen.
being mean to her assistant. Just fuck.
It's
man.
so ridiculous.
Just what we care about is so bizarre. Yeah. It's such a symptom of how sick we are as a culture, and that our priorities are so skewed, and that this is sort of accentuated by our addiction to social media.
Yeah.
And that people are concentrating so much on things that are trivial and nonsensical. What's up, buddy?
I found an article on Reuters that said that like the mainstream media has been reporting on this. So like that, I'm looking through pages to find out details on different reporting of this. All I'm finding this on is like local news sites. So how, like, what does that mean though that it's not being reported?
Well, you don't see it on
being
CNN. You're not seeing it as like mainstream television news where it's a big subject that gets discussed, that we have a giant problem like this in this country. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm digging through here, and then like the human trafficking
America
angle,
deserved 9/11.
according to
How
what
long
like
before
the U.S.
Joe
Marshals
goes
done
full
here,
Jew?
it's 1 in 4 of these kids. So if it was 25 kids picked up, that's 6 or 7 of them were human trafficking. The other 20 or so are like kids that ran away or kids that were being abused, and they found them.
My favorite thing about like why is the media not covering this is that like 90% of the time you're literally clicking on an article from the media actually covering this while you simultaneously complain about why the media is not covering this.
We're going to follow you right back to mommy. You get your milk.
Hasan? Blink twice if you're vegan.
Like, why is the media not covering this? An article that I just clicked on from the media. This needs to be covered in the media, I say, as I read an article from the media.
Because they were missing. So some have been missing for 2 weeks, some up to 2 years.
Wow.
So not every kid is in a human trafficking.
That's those
sex trafficking
72.
situation.
That's 72.
Okay.
The ones, the 35 though in Georgia, I think
It's all
those
the same-
were all
it's all the same thing. Yeah.
same kind of thing. So they're collecting, and then they're like reporting the numbers. So like they're collecting these 35 kids over a period of time, and then they're reporting we found 35 kids. So like it's a month later,
Right,
they
so
found
like
35
This
kids.
one from September, which should have been reported 5 weeks ago, says that they recovered 25 missing and endangered children over the
Wow.
last month. 1 in
Oh, you're
4
such a
was
big
part
man,
of what they
Hasan.
believe an alleged
Thank you for
human
the knowledge
trafficking
and your
situation.
support.
Obviously, one is too many.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
My man pulled that shit up university's very own Jamie, dude.
Oh, you're such a
My
big
man.
man,
Obviously.
But
question do you
so it
hope
seems
gets
like there's
asked
all
tonight at the
they're
town
they're
hall?
finding missing kids, and a percentage of them happen to be a part of human trafficking. And now here's the question: how many of the kids that are being human trafficked actually get discovered? We're finding this 5 here, 6 here. These
But
part
how
of these
many
groups.
actually are there?
How many of them actually are there? Do we know? We don't, right?
We don't. We don't.
Just
know.
the fact that it's a real thing is spooky as fuck.
It is. And it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying for fathers and mothers. And,
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's like the fact that, or brothers and sisters, the fact that it could be.
So there's no reason to have this convo now, I guess. You know what I mean? When it's like, oh, it's terrifying. Now we're talking about like how devastating child trafficking is. Oh, really? Oh, child trafficking is devastating? No shit, dog. That's crazy, bro. You don't say. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for having this illuminating conversation on child trafficking. After having like a long take on pretty much like all of this is just misinfo. Finally wrapping it up with like, well, you know, even one is too much. And also child trafficking bad. Yeah, no shit. Why are you so defensive
I
about
love
children
the system.
bashing
I
child
can now
trafficking?
remove the tinfoil hat.
Because
Joe Rogan
I get
can
fucking
stick his video
frustrated
aiming
because it's
stick
one of the
deep inside
most
me and wiggle it around
abused,
my booty hole.
one of the most
Goddamn, look at the
abused
shiny
fucking
dome. I
forms
just
of
want to lick
oppression
my
and
cream off of it.
exploitation
Oh god, oh god, oh god.
that every bad faith grifter actor totally relies on. Like, it's like up there with fucking slavery, okay? Exploitation of children and child trafficking is fucking horrible. Everybody knows it's horrible. Most people that are otherwise really awful people literally turn to this and act like and use how emotional this is. Use how emotional the subject is to like grift for their own purposes. In this circumstance, the conversation is not all that bad because like the only thing they got onto was like, you know, why is the media not covering it or whatever.
Someone close to you.
Is Hasan.
Episodes of the
Bear gamer word im a lion. Im the predator of the prey that is hiding.